All right, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for afternoon snacks. This is our fall series of when we're going over quick tips for navigating Career Center apps. And today our topic is Big Interview. Thank you so much for joining us. A couple housekeeping notes. Please be sure to fill out the Google check-in form. That helps us keep track of you and let us know who came to join us this afternoon. Please keep your microphone on mute throughout the session. We will pause later for questions. If you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat. And just to let you know, this session is being recorded. And again, today we're talking about our Career Center app Big Interview. My name is Carrie McKnight. I'm one of the career counselors in the Career Center. I'm also joined by Anita and Kristen, or my fellow career counselors as well, who are going to be helping me manage questions and chat and helping me through the session this afternoon. So we'll go ahead and get started. And again, feel free to put your questions in chat and please fill out our Google check-in form. Okay, do you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay, sorry, I got somehow my PowerPoint got frozen. Okay, are we moving now?
We're moving.
Okay. Sorry about the technical issues here this afternoon. Okay, again, we're talking about Big Interview, and this is our Career Center online tool to help you prepare for interviews. And it's to help you practice interviews for job interviews, internships, or if you're applying for graduate school. And why use Big Interview? So this tool is designed to help you actually get hands-on practice doing interviews. So you can read about interviewing advice and get tips, but this tool is designed to help you get the actual hands-on practice doing online mock interviews. And they're designed to help you practice answering interview questions for internships, jobs related to career fields, connected to your career goals, and at various experience levels. And one of the most important aspects or important tool inside a Big Interview is allows you to do a recording of your mock interviews that you can actually share with others. You can share with career counselors, coaches, faculty, mentors to get feedback on your online mock interview videos. Okay, how did you get started? So you could find Big Interview on the Career Center website if you go to resources or go to Launch Your Career, and you'll find Big Interview there. And you can register using your single sign-on. So make sure you're using your single sign-on, you can get into the Big Interview app. And just a little note, FYI, after you graduate from San Jose State, you actually can continue to use Big Interview if you become an alumni member. And at that point, we would give you a special code. But as a student, you use your single sign-on to get into Big Interview. And today we're gonna focus on three main areas within Big Interview. So that is learn, practice, get feedback. So learn is when you're going to get tips and advice about how to do interviewing. Practice is when you're actually going to do those mock interview videos that I mentioned. And then get feedback is where you're going to share your video with others to get advice and feedback. So the first thing we suggest that you do is after you log in is go to learn. So there's a tab at the top of the Big Interview page. It says learn right here. And within there, you can get advice and tips about how to do your interviewing. First stop is there's a help center with really helpful videos of how to get set up, making sure your camera's working, your video's ready to go. There's some articles and tips on how to get started. So we advise you start with Help Center. And after that, you can go into what's called Fast Track. And this is where you can watch 16 video lessons ranging from 2 to 10 minutes. And within those are video tips and advice about how to do interviewing. So how to get prepared, what to do before an interview, what to do during interview, what to do after an interview, how to answer common questions or maybe behavioral or situational questions. So a good place to start is the Fast Track video lessons. There's also what's called Mastery Track. This is much more in-depth videos that you can view to become like a master interviewer. In addition to the Fast Track and Mastery Track, they also have other types of curriculum on the Big Interview site. There's a written curriculum if you prefer to read rather than watch videos. There's curriculum on how to negotiate offers, how to negotiate salary, for example. There's also a job search curriculum. So a lot of really helpful information in Learn at the very first tab that we suggest you start when you get into Big Interview. So how do you actually start practicing your interviews? So after you do the learn section, view those tips and advice videos and read some of the curriculum, now you're ready to actually practice and do your online mock interview videos. So the first place you can start is up here where it says practice. And it's going to give you a drop-down menu of some different options to help you practice interviewing. So you can look at practice interviews, which are mock interview options. You can do interview roulette, which gives you random questions that you can practice. You can go into answer builder, which is a way that you can prepare your answers in advance, maybe for behavioral or situational questions, for example. You can go through a tool that helps you prepare your answers. And then also you can look at the question library, and that gives you a list of all the questions that are in the big interview site that you can review in advance. So when you're getting ready to actually start doing your practice interviews, you actually want to turn on your camera and your audio so you actually can do your recordings. So once you select practice interviewing, you want to go to new mock interview. And this is where you can actually do the videos that I was mentioning. So you just follow through the prompts that come on the screen, you answer the questions, and you record your responses. And be sure, again, before you actually start your mock interview videos, that you test your camera, your audio to make sure everything is working. And then you can go through and answer questions. And the questions are set up in different categories. So there's general common questions, there are industry, career field questions, questions related to competency and skill area, admissions questions. Again, if you're thinking about applying to graduate school, there's admissions questions, etc. So there's different categories that you can go through and select. And just FYI, if you are taking a course and your faculty member or your professor assigns Big Interview as a class assignment, you'll receive a code from your instructor or your faculty member that you can get access to their assignment on Big Interview. So that once you've actually gone through and recorded your videos, they are saved into your what's called My Videos. And this is a library of your own videos. And you can go in there and view your videos, you can re-record your videos, you could delete them, and most importantly, you can share them with others and to get feedback. So again, that's right under here, it says My Videos. So once you've actually gone through the process, you can record those videos and share them with others. And they can be, again, you can share your videos with maybe career counselors or career coaches in the Career Center, faculty, maybe you have mentors, friends, classmates that you'd like to get feedback from. And one really important thing to remember is that you don't have to share videos with someone who's actually on Big Interview. So you can share them with anyone. You just share a link, they can view your mock videos and give you feedback. So it could be anybody. It could be anyone from San Jose State or outside of the university, and they can provide feedback. Okay, so let's take a look at what this actually looks like on the Big Interview site. So I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to go into Big Interview. So when you first log in, remember you're in your single sign-on and come into the website, you're first going to go to, it says My Dashboard, and that's a main screen, allows you to select where you'd want to start on the site. And as I mentioned, we advise that you start with Learn. So you just want to click on this tab, Learn. And here I'm already on that page. And these are the sections that I already mentioned. So we have Fast Track, Mastery Track, the various curriculums I mentioned, job search, negotiation, written curriculum if you prefer to read the advice and tips rather than watch the videos. And at the bottom, key things to remember. This is the help center that I referred to earlier. So how to get started, what are the system requirements, and other tips to help you get started with Big Interview. So again, start with Learn, review the videos, review the lessons, check out the curriculum to help you get started. Then next you want to go to Practice. So after you feel like you're confident, you've read the advice and the tips and information, you're ready to actually practice and start doing your mock interview videos. So this is where you want to go to Practice. And this is the 4 options I mentioned earlier: practice interviews, interview roulette, answer builder, and question library. So you might want to start with the question library just to get a sense of all the questions that are on the website, practice those a little bit. Answer builder, again, you can actually create your answers on the site and prepare for maybe challenging questions or behavioral situational questions, for example. Interview roulette just gives you random questions. You might want to go through that to practice a little bit. But once you're ready to go and feel that you want to actually start doing your recordings, doing your videos, you want to go to where it says Practice Interviews. And here are those options I mentioned before: general common questions, industry, career field questions, questions related to competency or skill sets, admissions, government, veteran questions. So you can choose any of these areas to get started, but we recommend that you really want to just start maybe with the general common questions to get familiar with those and practice doing your videos. So this is how it looks. So you start here and you have some options here. So we have entry level, mid-level, etc. We have standard, challenging, tough questions. And this is where you could actually start doing your recordings. So let's just start with the top 10 common questions, standard level. I'm going to click on Stacy. And Stacy pops up here. And then what you would do here is you would play the question. Stacy would read the question, tell me about yourself. You can get tips right here, like how would I respond to tell me about yourself. This would be a review for what you already looked at the Learn section or read through in the Learn section. And right over here to the right is where you would appear. My camera is in use right now because I'm on Zoom using my camera, but this is where you would appear right here in this right-hand screen. And then when you're ready, you play what Stacy's going to ask you, tell me about yourself, and you respond right here and you record. And then you could just go to the next question and go through those top 10 common questions. You can see all the questions here at the left as well if you like to review those first. And then you can also, again, re-record, delete, start over. So you might want to get familiar with it first, try it out. And then when you feel really confident with it, you can save all your videos, all your responses to the questions. And then you go into what I mentioned earlier, go into My Videos right here. So here's some sample videos that I recorded previously. So I can review them again. I can take a look at them, feel if I'm happy with them, if I want to re-record or maybe delete some of them. And then when I'm ready to go and I feel like I really want to get some feedback from faculty or maybe, career counselors, for example, I go right here to Actions. This gives me the same options to review, re-record, and then importantly right here, Share. And this is where I can share a link to my videos with others to get feedback. You could write a nice message to your professor or your classmate or career counselor, and then share the video. And they will get a link, email, with a link to the video or a form for them to fill out to give you feedback and advice about your videos. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are doing this as part of a class, you would go right here to where it says assignments and you put in the assignment code that was given to you by your faculty member. So those are the main areas we really want to focus on to help you get started. Again, learn, practice, My Videos, and then share your videos to get advice. So I'm going to go back in here and back to present. And hopefully we are moving along still. Okay, so we're going to take a little moment here just to check in with all of you to see if you've picked up on some of the tips we provided today for big interviews. So go ahead and in the chat, answer these questions. So if I'm a current student, do I use my single sign-on to register a big interview? Yes or no? So go ahead and answer that. And then the second question is, in addition to common interview questions or general interview questions, can I get industry or career field related questions? Can I practice questions related to my industry or career field of interest? Yes or no? Okay, and then can I share my practice videos with someone who is not registered on Big Interview? So maybe someone outside of the university, can I share my videos to get their feedback on my mock interviews? Okay, so I don't, Kristen or Anita, how do we do?
Looks like we have yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay,
Are
you picked up on
those correct?
picked on the tips and advice that we offered today. Thank you. Okay, so now it's time if you have any additional questions about Big Interview, how to register, how to sign up, how to do any of your mock interviews.
So I would encourage you, if you have questions, you can either put them in the Q&A section, or there's about 11 of us here. If you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to do that as well.
So one of the things while you guys are thinking about questions is this tool is particularly helpful right now because we're in the virtual environment right now. This will really help you prepare for virtual interviews. So, looking at yourself, how you sound, how you look on camera, how you look on video, it's really important to practice right now. So Big Interview existed before we were all this virtual environment, but now we're finding it really, really useful to help students prepare for virtual interviews. So, which is mostly common right now. You're going to be doing phone interviews, virtual interviews over Zoom or maybe other platforms. So the Big Interview is particularly useful at this time. And you can also just view the videos yourself. I mean, if you don't feel like sharing with others to get feedback, that's up to you. But I really encourage you just to take the time to go through the common questions and the industry questions, the skill related questions, and just review it for yourself. And then when you feel comfortable and confident, share it with others to get that feedback. But it's really a very useful tool at this particular time.
Hey, it's Kristen. I just wanted to mention that if students would like even additional feedback beyond if they were to email their answers to a teacher or even a career counselor, you can schedule one-on-one meetings virtually with career counselors on Spartan Connect, and we can actually spend time going through your questions, giving you live feedback.
Yeah, so as Krista mentioned, we do mock interviews individually with students. So when I work with students, I often suggest they go to Big Interview and also our interviewing guide, which I'll make sure you know how to find as well. Practice a little bit and then also practice with us one-on-one, as Kristen has mentioned. So you have kind of multiple layers of opportunities to practice. So individually, self-directed, and then with us as an appointment.
So Carrie, you did have one question that came in, and I think a few people may have come in a little bit later, but it was regarding whether or not there were industry specific questions for software engineering. And so maybe just an overview of most industries are covered in Big Interviews. So you're very likely to get in some really good industry specific questions across all colleges and majors.
Yeah, I mean, but there's many different industries in Big Interview. The questions are very targeted to career fields and industries. I've reviewed, most of them. So I definitely would, suggest taking advantage of. Certainly there's software engineering, all different career fields, just about everything connected to our career pathways at San Jose State are represented in the Big Interview. So we recommend that you, again, to practice some common questions, general questions, and also your industry career field related questions. So do a little bit of both when you're doing your mock interviews on Big Interview, and then also when you're meeting with us individually.
Okay, another good question just came in. It's two-part. So the first piece is, do we have to dress up when practicing through Big Interview? And then what are some challenging questions you guys have had before in an interview?
Yeah, I would suggest dressing professionally while you're practicing in a Big Interview. Again, really just to see how you look and how you're dressing, your hair, whatever professional dress and attire you want to test out. I think it's really important to do that. And especially if you're sharing it with faculty or maybe staff members or others, you'd want them to also give you feedback. That's actually one of the feedback questions, is the visual side of how you were presenting yourself in the interview. We certainly would suggest that you do that in the practicing aspect of that. And challenging interview questions. Okay, well, let's see.
I had a lot. But I do want to echo what you were saying as far as what's nice about Big Interview, it's not like you're limited to so many videos. So like if first you just want to go through them as a practice, like you can do them in your jammies or whatever, that's fine. But then when you're really ready to see what you look like, once you've kind of practiced it, I would definitely dress up and also practice with your lighting as to where you're going to be when you're recording it. Because I think the biggest challenge that we've seen in virtual interviews happens to be like the space that you're in. So if you need to make sure that you have like the right background screen and what does that look like on camera, that's really helpful. If practicing staring into the camera like I'm doing right now when I'm talking to you, that does not feel normal, but that's the best way to connect with someone when you're having that one-on-one. And if you have bad lighting, you can't see your nonverbals. And so having, I'm sorry if you're hearing crashing behind me, it's lunchtime in my household. And if you have light directly behind you and into your face, that's probably the best way to ensure that you have the right lighting. So those things do make a huge difference. And seeing the recording played back is a safe way to test that before you do it live, and you don't want to be caught off guard with that. Challenging questions really quick. I have had people ask, I mean, it's a no-brainer, but it is challenging when someone says, so tell me why I should hire you for this job. But they're going to ask you at some point in time, like, why you versus everyone else that I'm interviewing. So being ready to answer that. I've also, you know, I think that tell me about yourself can be a hard question too, because I think the instinct is to just start talking conversationally about yourself. And the goal of that question is very specific. Like, tell me who you are and how it relates your experience to this particular role that I'm hiring for. And that takes practice. To highlight like your story in a matter of like a minute versus talking about your entire life experience, which is not what the interview is looking for. So I think those two are actually hard, even though they seem harmless. I think those are the hardest ones.
Yeah, those are, and I think some things I can think of being asked questions about sort of mistakes that you've made, or just maybe throughout your career or as a student, or maybe decisions that you've made that you made a mistake about a decision. So I think those are some challenging things I can think of in my interview experience. But, you know, practicing is like anything, and just practicing is really important. And, you know, everyone is nervous. I think regardless of where you are in your career, we get nervous in interviewing. And I think that's fairly common, and it's okay to be nervous, but I think practicing really helps. And that's why we just really are excited to share this resource with you, because just practicing really helps ease some of that nervousness, and go through some of those difficult questions can really make it a little bit easier for you.
This is Kristen, and one thing I'd add, I think one of the hardest questions I've asked students, and also have been asked myself in an interview, is tell me what is your greatest weakness. The thing I love about Big Interview is if you go into Big Interview, it will give you tips on what to say and what not to say. And one of the suggestions it gives you is to share something that's not, share a skill that's not essential to the job. So if Excel is critical to the job, do not tell them your weakness is Excel. That will get you eliminated quickly. But the other key is to share something that you are actively working on improving. So, you know, maybe you could say, well, in my classes, I've been introduced to using this system, and I wanted to get more practice using it so that I'm ready for interviews and working. So I've been doing some case studies, and I've been practicing using it so I can get even more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Are there any other questions that have come in?
You've done an amazing job. No one has any more questions.
Okay, well, I'll show you how to reach us if you do have questions and you want to connect with us going ahead. If you have a moment, first of all, make sure you filled out the Google form, the check-in form, and here's just a quick survey to let us know about the workshop, if this was helpful for you today, the session to learn about one of our apps, a Big Interview. So if you have a moment to fill that out, we'd really appreciate it. And, you know, lastly, just as I said, if you have further questions, you can reach us at the careerhelp@sjsu.edu. It's our general email box. If you have questions about Big Interview, or maybe or some of our other apps, or just general career-related questions, you could connect with us there. We also have a live chat. If you find this little icon on the Career Center website, you can chat with us and ask us questions Monday through Friday during business hours, 9 through 5 p.m. So anytime you have questions, just connect with us through the email or the chat. And also, as mentioned, you can make appointments with us, our career counselors, through Smart Connect. And if you want to do mock interviewing, or you have just other questions about interviewing or resume help or any other career-related questions, you can make appointments to meet with us individually. And we have other workshops throughout the semester coming up. And please make sure you check Handshake frequently to find out any of the upcoming events or workshops or programs we have for the semester. And we would thank you so much for joining us today. And again, feel free to reach out to us with any questions about Big Interview or anything else we can help you with throughout your time here at San Jose State.